Welcome to the Untypical Parent podcast for parents in neurodivergent families. I'm Liz Evans and I'm your host. Here we talk about the messy and the sparkles, share ideas you can actually use, and give you space to take what could work and leave what doesn't. There's no such thing as a manual that perfectly fits a neurodivergent family. So the Untypical Parent podcast is here to make the hard bits lighter and the good bits brighter. Welcome to your backup team. We've been expecting you. I'm delighted today to welcome David to the podcast. David is the dad behind NeuroDad's Diary, a storytelling and advocacy platform for neurodivergent families. Blending honesty, Yorkshire humour, and practical survival hacks, David shares the raw, sensory-rich realities of parenting being neurodivergent. From toileting charts and emotional regulation rituals to heartbreak and hope. His work invites communal care, co-creation, and a gentler kind of resilience. David, welcome to the podcast. Thank you ever so much for joining us today.
No, thanks for having me. Very important.
It's been so nice to have you on. I think you're going to bring a very different angle today to the podcast, which I'm really looking forward to having a conversation about because we're going to come at this from a dad's perspective. And I've had a couple of guys on before, dads on before, but we've not really dived into the dad perspective. And the other bit that I'm really interested in is we've had lots of parents in that talk about their family life because their kids are neurodivergent. They also might be neurodivergent, but they're mainly they're talking about their kids. But actually, that's slightly different for you, isn't it?
Very much like, yeah, neurodiverse, and my kids are too young yet for diagnosis. So I've got a 3-year-old daughter and an 8-month-year-old little son. So at this time, too young for me to be able to know if they are neurodiverse. And my wife's exploring it. She's going through a referral checklist, but a
Okay.
referral, you know what I mean, going through a referral.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm the only one I know of so far within the dynamic. So
Okay.
yeah, it's different. It's a different dynamic, and a lot of people that do follow me are normally are the other, like I say, the other way. It's
Yeah.
same kind of approach. So
And it often
yeah,
comes round the other way, doesn't it? I think as adults, if we're being diagnosed later in life, it's coming off the back of our kids' diagnosis. And suddenly people are going, oh, but I've done that or I do that. And suddenly there's these light bulb moments for adults going, actually, maybe I'm neurodivergent. But actually this has happened the other way around for you. So this has happened that you so how did you get there? How did this happen, David?
interesting. So I've talked about it on other podcasts, but for me it was I went to a talk about neurodiversity with an autistic individual who runs a organisation called SAND. So it's the Society for Neurodiversity in Calderdale, up in Yorkshire. Um, and through that conversation, at the end, I said, "Oh, do you mind if I stay back and have a bit of a chat and update?" She went, "Well, how long have you been diagnosed?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Not diagnosed?" She said, "Well, you've information dumped on me throughout the thing. You've held conversations ready for that have passed. You've then brought it to the table. I thought we've already moved on from that. You've done a lot of autistic traits. Um, do you think you are?" And I was like, "Oh, I came just to support the people I work with through work, through neurodiversity. I didn't expect he to even mention that." So then that kind of laid the seed. I've had anxiety almost my life, mental health issues. So it then kind of said, well, actually, is it the neurodiversity that's feeding the anxiety, or is it the anxiety that's the giving the neurodiverse trait? So it then just played on my mind all the time. Like, is it or isn't it? And eventually, I just said, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and just have a referral. I went away from the autistic traits. I definitely thought it was more ADHD. So I went for
Okay.
the ADHD referral first, which I got diagnosed in March formally after having my assessment in January. So yeah, it took a while for it to come through, but yeah, eventually got it. and now I'm going through for the autism referral because I
This is
scored
all,
very highly in the in the test.
and this is all
So
really new for you as well, then. This is not, this is kind of like in the last year.
very new. Yeah.
Wow.
So it had been going on for quite some time because of COVID and kind of restrictions, and I had a lot of other family issues going on at the time. So I thought I won't overburden myself. I'll eventually do it. But it took me a year to fill out the forms, and that in itself was a bit like, well, that's my ADHD there, isn't it? It takes me so long to fill out the
I was
form.
going
I
to say
couldn't
to you, what do you think that might have been?
I couldn't even fill out the form. I was writing War and Peace for them. They were like,
Yeah.
"There's too much information here. Like, you don't need to provide us all this." But yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, that's so very early doors in my journey, really.
Yeah. And I suppose the question that I ask everyone that comes on, the first question, and I've kind of diverted because I do that and I'm allowed to, it's my podcast. So, but I've diverted off track. Um, is I always ask everyone, are you the perfect parent? So, David, I'm really interested. Are you the perfect parent?
Definitely not. What is perfect? Like, it's a term that
I haven't met it yet.
we don't do it. Like I try. Always my utmost will try. That's all I can say is I will try the best I can because that's all we ever can do.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not perfect. There's always things I can learn from. There's always things I can. That's why I have my own page, my the NeuroDad's diaries, because I want to know what other people are doing. Like how
Yeah.
are other people coping through those scenarios?
Yeah.
It's it's not easy.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think there was
and
a
I think
big
that's where
change?
my go on,
I was
sorry.
going to say, do you think there was a big change for you when you, because your kids were born pre-diagnosis for you, your kids were born, and then during that time, and though they're still little, you've now got this diagnosis, which I presume has given you a maybe a deeper understanding of you and the way that you are and what you how you do things. Has that changed? Has that changed the way you parent?
It has with the second, I would say, more than the
Okay.
first. So the second, I'm much more aware of my triggers and my points of where I need to. Where initially I was like, why am I had to cope with the noise? Like, why is it doing my head in? So I couldn't understand in the first. So with our daughter, couldn't understand that at all. It didn't make sense to me why things were so complicated, and why things were so difficult for me to absorb, like their development stages. And I was like, well, why aren't they doing that yet? Oh, what's going on here? Or why? What?
Mm,
I can't understand why they're upset. I can't get or empathy. I struggle with empathy quite a lot.
yeah.
So, but then second, I'm a bit more now. Like, right, I'm triggered. I know what I need to do. I need to leave the room. I can get my wife and pass over and let them take over. I need to calm down. I need to reconnect.
Mm.
So I'm much more aware of it in the second child than I am the first.
That must have been really
Um,
hard with your first one to have those kind of feelings and feel overwhelmed and triggered by things that kids are doing, our kids do, but not knowing why.
yeah,
Did that kind of go internally for you then? So it must be me, I'm the problem.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm the issue. And sometimes I get that now. Like, I'll say stuff to my wife, and she goes, "Yeah, but you're the adult, and they're the child." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I still can't cope with what they're doing. It's still annoying me." Um, Weaning was another one. Like if when they were weaning, I couldn't cope with that choking mechanism, or I was like, "Oh, what they're doing? Are they all right?" And like, that instant panic
Yeah.
was just too much. I'd have to just leave the room. Whereas now I'm a bit more like, right, it's learned. That's what they do. it's and it's and I've not had much involvement of children in my life,
Yeah.
like bringing up other children. So like I say, I've got a sister, but me bringing them up, I was very much the 7 year gap between us, so I wasn't really involved in much of the upbringing. Whereas I think that my wife, she's got many like nieces and nephews and things, so she's been used to feeding them, bringing them up, getting them changed. I
Yeah.
was like, is that too gentle? Is that too hard? Is that what am I doing? But you learn as you go, and I
Yeah.
feel like I've managed, but it has been a steep learning curve for
Yeah.
me.
And it sounds like, I
Yeah,
suppose, kind
definitely.
of that anxiety about, like you're saying, you're being really worried about something and not knowing, is this, typical? Do I need to be worried about this? And it sounds like some of that might have been kind of neurodivergent based, but some of that actually was just experience. Like, as you say, your wife had been through having been around other kids and was a bit more kind of like, it's just
Yeah,
normal.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And there's only
There's,
so much books you can read. Like I was given books when I first started. They're like, read this book about being a new dad, and I'm reading it. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But in practicalities, will that come across? Like, probably not.
yeah.
Like it's that. I think the expectation sometimes is people think, well, this is what perfect is. And that's what the book says. That's what their experience is. When you experience the world completely different, it's complete minefield for us. It's
Yeah.
not the same. So yeah, and a lot of people when I speak to my GP, that a lot of people are coming forward recently for diagnosis because they've said they've had children and then suddenly the world's their structure, their routine, everything has gone out the window, and that's when they've realised that there's actually more to their anxieties and their concerns.
Yeah.
Actually, a neurodiverse
I think that, and
condition
that
that's there
sound, and that kind of
underlying.
makes sense, doesn't it? I suppose because when we're kind of functioning on our own, we kind of have made life fit us, and then these kids come along and blow that apart. Nothing goes as it should. All the plans that you had have gone out the window. You can plan the most perfectly planned day, but the kids don't get the memo about that, and it all gets chucked out the window, and
Yeah.
suddenly it's having to change everything. And if you're the kind of personality trait as well that really struggles with that, that's really hard.
But this is now there's a more of an odd approach. There's more of an autistic kind of age because I struggle with knowing do I prefer a routine or when I don't have a routine then I'm off the rails anyway. So it's sometimes I like a routine, sometimes I don't like a routine. So that's where I'm like there's something much more, and there always is with with a neurodiverse because there's always normally another one somewhere. So I think yeah, well I'll have a look I'll have a look see this is the other one since I scored. But yeah, things just snowball. So I was like, you think you've got it, and it's not. It's gone.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
think you
yeah.
understand what's going on with the kids, and you think, right, this is what's happening. And then they just throw a complete curveball.
And
Or this,
with
my daughter says random things sometimes that just sets me off. And I'm like, what does she mean?
and you kind of before we recorded, you sent me some information, and I was just looking through some of the things that we talked about what we might talk about today, and you talked about something specific called the invisible load. And I'm really interested in what you meant by that. So you talked about the invisible load of neurodivergent parenting. What do you mean by that?
So for me, I think people don't understand that a lot of the time there's a lot of things that snowball and pile up on us that we, as neurodivergents, want to keep bottled because we think, actually, that's not normal to think that, or that's not, it's a weird thing to say out loud. So
Yeah.
we don't say it, we keep it, and that load builds and builds and builds and builds. It's something I've talked about in therapy loads where I don't deal with it because I want to deal with it because I'm dealing with a scenario of a child or it's something that's triggering me. I don't want to focus on it. So I bottle it up, put it in this invisible load, and eventually it keeps building and building and building and building. And eventually I break because I'm not dealing with that scenario. The way I tried to deal with it was writing it down. So I'd say, right, I'm struggling with this scenario right now. I'm going to have to just write this down in on a note somewhere. Normally do it on my phone, just write, this is what I dealt with, and then leave it for a minute. Get on with what I'm dealing with. And then when there is a calm period, I can go back to that load and go, right, actually, this is what I need to unpack now. I've got time. I've
Yeah.
got the kids are asleep. I'm sat up awake, still thinking about it. Let me look at it. And that's normally when I create my content from that. Because I then normally think, well, that's bothered me today. I need to understand that. I need to explore it. I need to go out and do some reading. I need to unpack it a little bit. And then I might not get the post finished because I might fall asleep, which is what I often do.
Yeah.
I start doing something and then I go. zone out. And that's what I did last night. Writing something content that I wanted to do, really wanted to get it out there. Woke up this morning, 4 o'clock with it still in my hand. I thought, well, that didn't happen. I'll do that tomorrow.
And I suppose I wonder in a way whether there's something quite therapeutic about that, being able to write it and actually is then giving your brain a chance to go, actually, I'm going to unload that bit to that piece of paper, which then gives you the ability to then rest, I suppose, because I think often with ADHD, our thoughts are racing and running and sleeping can be tricky.
Very.
So, yeah. So that kind of, it sounds like you've come across, where did you come across that strategy? Did someone suggest it to you, or is it something that you've kind of created yourself?
Yeah, no, it was in a therapy, I have to say.
Okay.
We were talking about journaling, and I said, "Oh, I struggle to journal because it's all creation." What do you mean creative? So, well, I thought journaling was here to like make it all colourful and pretty, and she was like, "No, just write out what you think. Like, even if it's just annoyed, like just put I'm annoyed, and then you can look back at that. And go, why was I annoyed? At what time was I annoyed? Why did that kind of manifest in itself?" So yeah, it was a therapy strategy that they mentioned,
Yeah.
and it worked really well for me, um, to a degree. Depends how much is going on. If there's a lot piling up, then writing it down is just me like, well, that's another thing to add to the list. So there's too much going on.
So then it
Um,
becomes a demand almost that I've got to do it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So sometimes it becomes a bit too much. So you have to then just take it with a pinch of salt. Sometimes, like, well, that has annoyed me, but there's nothing really I can do about it.
Okay.
So I have to like it and lump it.
Yeah.
Um,
And is there
but
a,
yeah, it is that just kind of constant piling it on, that I felt like I do anyway. I bottle it up. Being a man, we do that anyway. We don't talk about it. We don't get it out. We bottle it up, and then the ADHD layers on top of that, which is then an additional. Because then you start thinking of the RSD. You start thinking, oh, rejection sensitivity. Have I said too much? Have I done too little? Or what could I have done different through that? Then
yeah.
you start to overanalyze it. Then you then go into um, decision paralysis. Then it all starts to snub. So it's easy sometimes just to you have to write it down and then find a time when you can unpack it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm kind of interested, I suppose, because it sounds a bit like I do a bit of talking around masking as parents. Is that there's quite a lot of talk out there about masking as neurodivergent individuals that we mask. I mask as a dyslexic. I'm sure you mask as well. But actually, there's elements in our parenting where we need to mask. And then there are times when actually we might be all right not masking, but we still mask.
Yeah,
Um, and it's a really difficult thing to weigh up that about how far do I mask, but actually, what I don't want to do is show my kids that I'm not real. So, and that depends on their age. That depends
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
their, what they're like as a child, a person. Are they very anxious kids? You don't want to overload them with stuff, but actually, where do I go with that? How do I make that all right? And it sounds like you've acknowledged that there's some things that you feel that you kind of hold on to, but then you've found an outlet for it. So what you haven't done is gone, I'm just going to hold on to it because eventually it does kind of either come out the top or it
Yeah,
makes us really
eats you
poorly.
alive, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But you found a way of letting that out in a much more controlled way.
Try to. I say
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed. There will be
You're
times
not perfect
where
yet,
I'll say
David.
stuff yeah, yeah, when I shouldn't say stuff. Like I'll say stuff like the worst one I feel I've said lately is what why are you feeling like that? What's wrong? And I've said that, but then my daughter's linked that, and I ask Google for everything. I'm always talking to like, tell me the time, tell me the weather, tell me. So, because I just need it. Like yesterday, I said, as I talked to you earlier, Vodafone was out, so I lost all that connectivity yesterday afternoon. So I had to use the old school, like, let's put a timer on my phone. Let's not ask
Yeah.
Google. But she said not long after I mentioned that comment, she said, "Okay, Google, what's wrong with me?" And that sat with me awfully that she said that because she's linked two things together, me using Google for everything and her asking what's wrong with her, when actually all I was asking is what's wrong with you now, I need to help you. But she's linked that something, and it's still sitting with me really awfully, that that
I
she's
can
put the
see
two and two
that.
together.
That's really hit hard for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of these really difficult things that technology is there for to help me,
Yeah.
but it's actually then developed into something she thinks she's what's wrong with her. It's not the wrong thing what's wrong with her. I was asking out what is wrong so I can help, but the
Yeah.
translation has come out completely wrong. So it does sometimes not go right. It doesn't like I do sometimes get it wrong and I lose the control. And then my wife will then say, "Look, like, it's time for me to intervene now because
Mm-mm.
you're obviously quite afraid or you're struggling."
Mm.
And it does happen. Like I say, it's not,
Yeah, yeah,
we're not perfect, but I don't want to impose on them. So
yeah.
that's why if I do get to a triggered point, I normally will walk away and say, "Right, sorry, you're gonna have to just tag team in here because I'm gonna either say something and cross the line, or they're gonna feel the negativity of it. I don't want them to feel negative
Yeah, yeah. So it
because
sounds
it's
like
going to
you and
affect
your
their
wife
development.
are a really good tag team.
We try, yeah, we say we try. She sometimes doesn't understand where I'm coming from at all. She doesn't sometimes get it, but if I explain it afterwards, and sometimes she might go, "Yeah, that's fine, but you shouldn't have said that in front of the children," or
Yeah,
"Yes,
yeah, yeah.
think about this at next time." And I'm like, I think about it, but it doesn't mean that I'll be able to put it into practice.
Yeah,
I'll try, but it depends how I feel at the time. And
yeah.
but that's my always worries. I've not had a I can't say I didn't have a great childhood. I had a bit of a traumatic beginning,
Okay.
so therefore I try not to. I'm very conscious of that
Mm,
upon my children. Like I
mm.
don't want that to do the same. So the way things are said, the way things come across, the way people act, I try and really control that. But
And I suppose
we're
as well,
not.
you're really
Nobody's perfect.
early into your diagnosis and getting to know that and understanding why you do and say the things that you do. And, when we get it, and that's why I have this big thing about I get, the diagnosis later in life can be really tough because actually we've lived a whole life before that, not knowing. And then you kind of get these new glasses, new lenses sounds a bit weird, but you know what I mean? And just a different
I know
way of
what you mean.
looking at yourself that you suddenly go, oh,
That
well,
is that is the reason. That is completely why I did that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And I think the thing I get a lot of time is, well, that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. I'm trying to explain to you why I do that. I'm definitely not trying to say that what I've said is right or wrong.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just need to say I'm trying to give you a context of where I've come from
yeah,
in that view. But I don't often come across her, but sometimes me and my wife do have a bit of a clash. And she'll be like, "What do you mean by that?" And I'll have to really try and delve into it. She goes, "Yeah, it's not computing with me that, but that might have just been the scenario at the time, and they needed to cool down, and
mm,
we talk about it later."
mm,
I think, and sometimes you want to you want to go away from the scenario, but the other person wants to talk about it,
yeah, yeah,
and I'm like, no, 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 no. If I talk about it now, it's too raw. I'm gonna unleash rather than just be controlled.
yeah,
Let me go away. And they're like, no, 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 I need to talk about it now. No.
yeah,
You have to sometimes be really like, no, if you do it now, I will say something because I'm not cohesive. I'm not saying what I need, what I believe. I'm saying what I feel.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and then so and they go, right, okay,
yeah.
speak later.
And I think what's really important to see, and that what I kind of love about your page as well, and the stuff that you do, is that it is seeing a dad talk about this. And when I look at the followers that I've got, percentage wise, I would say probably tiny of being dads. So I would, maybe 2, 3%, that kind of,
Yeah,
it's so small. And I often think, where are those dads? Because this isn't just parenting isn't just difficult for mums. And I know stereotypically we might think mums are the ones that kind of would do this and will do that and whatever. And stereotypically dad goes out to work but actually I think the more and more I'm starting to talk to dads, they're struggling, but we don't see you. We don't see them. And whether, I suppose I'm interested, do you think it's going somewhere else? Or do you think, like you said earlier, actually what happened is it just stays within?
interesting. Yeah, I think it, I think we're there. We're definitely there. We're definitely
Yeah.
struggling. But I think what happens is the perception is the mums will pick up the slack. So it is like when we talk about same parenting, you always see the mums are behind them
Yeah,
fighting the cases, doing that.
yeah,
You don't see that dads have done anything, and I don't know if that is just social perception. Like things are moving. I think people understand, but I think there is still that kind of stigma that the dad goes to work, the
mm,
mum stays at home. When it's actually this life kind of dynamics of families have hugely changed,
yeah,
massively changed. I work flexibly from home and I also then have a flexible working day on a Monday. But
yeah,
when I go to like children's classes with my daughter, it is I am probably one of the only dads
yeah,
that's there,
yeah,
and very rarely will people will speak. And if they do speak, it's flippantly passing conversation where the other mums, you can see that they're all talking, they have conversations. Oh, I take her to this class, you take her to this, and I have to like kind of eavesdrop a little bit because otherwise I think, oh, I didn't know about that. My wife's not mentioned that to me, because it's just that kind of feeling that we don't seem to be involved in it. I don't know how that's developed over time. I really don't.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, you definitely feel the divide.
See, that's
But
really interesting because I never thought about actually dads actually might feel excluded rather than, and it's actually really difficult to get into groups where there's maybe lots of mums and yeah, I'd never thought of that.
yeah, I think a lot of the followers I'm saying my followers are more of a female base than they are male based. I think it's more like 70 odd to 40, so it's bigger.
Yeah.
But I would probably say that it'll be the mums who will follow me to share it to the dads.
Right.
To
So maybe
say,
it
yeah,
is
look, I've
getting
seen
to the
this.
dads, but kind of by proxy through the mums.
Yeah, because my wife
Okay.
does it with me. I've seen my wife does it with me. She'll follow her page and she'll say, "Oh, look, I've seen this. It's linked to husbands." And she sends me it, and I'm
Okay.
like, "Ah, right, okay." But it's come through like a female oriented
Yeah,
page. So,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I definitely think that's where I feel the connect is, and I'm trying to change the dynamic and trying to look at why I'm not reaching these dads. But there's definitely dads out there that are neurodiverse, and I'm speak to them quite
Yeah,
often.
they're definitely there, and I think they,
Yeah,
and I know that they're definitely struggling. And I had Bracky from Super Good Bikers come on and do a podcast with me, and he obviously set up his support for dads initially. It was very much for dads, and I think he was finding the dads were talking much more when they were kind of engaged in something or more kind of one-to-one, face-to-face, rather than going through this internet connection or and whether that feels more comfortable. I don't know. It just really
I think it's.
interests me.
I think they're practical. We're just practically minded,
Yes.
aren't we? Like I think we'd prefer to do something like a hobby or be out
Yeah,
there or
yeah,
in a
yeah.
sport group, something like that. I think that's why we do it. I think people use their own, like go to the allotment or
Mm,
go out and do photography or do some kind of hobbies. I think that's some people use other creative outlets,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they won't think about it as a therapy or as a way of dealing with it.
Mm,
I go to a monthly dad's kind of catch up. We just have breakfast, have lunch
yeah,
or breakfast, and that's it. We just maybe an hour or so, and we just chat for a bit, and then go back.
yeah.
Take the kids with us, and gives the wives a bit of a rest while we're having a bit of a natter. But it's just getting out there, isn't it? And,
Mm,
and I'm starting to see a lot more groups that I gather in. But
yes, they are.
the issues I always see with those gathering groups are they're at night when I'm putting the kids to bed.
Yeah.
So you can't. That's when you struggle to attend them. Andy's Man Club's is a key one. They
Yeah.
they run on a Monday, I think from 7 till 9, I think, or something later on like that. And that's the time they run that purposely because that's when most dads who will or males feel at suicide risk, and that's why they run them at that time. So if you're feeling that bad, you come and attend at that time.
Oh, wow, okay.
But for a dad time, for me,
Yeah.
it's the time when I'm putting the kids to the
Yeah.
bed, and
Yeah.
that's where I can't go. So that's where I hit the barrier. I'd love to go to some things like these, but they're just later in the evening.
Do you think? and this is again, my brain's gone off on a tangent. Sorry, everyone, because there was a route. We were going through a structure. I've now gone off down a rabbit hole. So apologies, everybody. But this is really interesting me. Um, I was just thinking then, do you think there's an element of dads feeling they're not allowed to be struggling because mum does, stereotypically, mum does more for the kids, or there's still this, you know, male, we don't talk about things, we're tough, we're strong, we just get through it. I'm wondering whether dads feel that they aren't allowed to struggle.
I think because I talked about it earlier. It was funny because we were talking. I know this is going to definitely go off topic, but we were talking about vasectomies and things like that. And we were saying that vasectomies, how bad is it that people will always then start when a male has a vasectomy, it's like, oh, how bad is it? It's gonna be horrendous. You're gonna go through all this pain, but we completely forget that your wife has given birth,
Yes.
has carried for 9 months, is at postpartum, is breastfeeding, and none of that matters because you're having this operation. And it's that. I think that's the thing. We daren't say it because if we say it, they'll go, "Well, look at all I've gone through."
Yeah, I can
And
trump
you're
that.
saying,
Yeah.
and you're saying you're having a slight issue, like you're having a bit of a mental health crisis. Come on, I've done all this. I think that's
Yeah. But
equally part of the way is that
yeah.
we don't want to talk about it because if we talk about it, then we'll feel like we're trying to take away from
Yeah.
all what's going on there. And
Yeah.
uh, in no other opetion that do you have that you will have an operation and then you leave 2 days later. No other options that happen. But pregnancy, that's it. There's your child. Go home.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes you don't even get an
you
overnight.
have a yeah.
Sometimes you don't even get an overnight stay. You've had your baby, right? Off you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that's another part of it is
Yeah.
we know what you go through, and then for us then to say, oh, yeah, when I'm not coping very well, it feels a bit contradictory.
Yeah. It's hard then, isn't it? It is hard that.
Yeah, and I think that's where I feel like the most of the weight sits
Yeah.
is not wanting to upset or cause any hardship by saying anything because you're feeling it, but then what they've gone through is completely different.
Yeah.
It's hormonal, behavioural, chemical. It's all going on. Where for us, it's
Yeah.
we're just mentally not taking the load very well.
Yeah.
But if
That's
you're neurodiverse as well as
yeah.
it's a double whammy, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's really important, isn't it? I think. And then I suppose that kind of leads me on to talk about, I will get back onto my structure and my topics now, is thinking about, I suppose, is burnout. And you've been very open about being burnt out. Something that I talk about as well. I've been burnt out, and it's something that I fight really hard to try and raise awareness to about burnout. Um, do you feel comfortable talking about what burnout has looked like for you, David?
Very much, yeah. Recent, so I say very recent. Have a burnout period. So I had a week off work, and I thought, right, I'm gonna have a nice reset, feel better. In that week off, it's my birthday, so I thought, yeah, have a nice little celebration. But you're still dealing with 2 children in a caravan on holiday, trying to deal with everything. And I thought, yeah, I'm gonna have a really nice reset, and I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
come back, and I came back, and I felt really deflated. I like it was a load of work still piled up while I've been away. Nothing
Mm,
really moves while you're away on annual leave. So I've got to come back to that. So I think, well, why do I take time off? It's pointless. Gonna build up again and do it again. So yeah, I struggled. The weather's changed as well. I do suffer quite bad from seasonal affective disorder as well. So
yeah.
before I came on, I had my light on. It looked
Yeah,
like a
you
just
did.
glaring light in my face. Um, so yeah, for me, it's like another bout of depression. I would describe it as because that's what
Mm,
I originally was thinking. Am I depressed? do I have another condition? Do I have a severe, like, is bipolar? I know that's probably not the right term anymore, bipolar. But is there something more? I was thinking, and then that was then spiraling and spiraling. I'm thinking, no, I'm actually just having a down time. I'm just down, and it's all right for me to feel a little bit low. Stop trying to diagnose myself all the time, making something that there's something out of it that there isn't. I just need to accept the fact that I'm having a bit of a low period.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed to do was just accept it. My wife was really supportive. She picked up the slack in the house and been looking after the kids and tidying around. And normally I would do some of that, but I just didn't have the capacity or energy to do it. It just wasn't there. Posts, kind of social media, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to get it out there, but I just, every time I logged on to write something, I was like, is this me just sounding whingy and whiny? And am I not?
Okay.
Is it not hitting the? Am I just being manic, depressive on my page? Is that going to just put people off? I thought, I don't know why I always won't write it. I'll come round to it when I'm in a better headspace and I can. So yeah, I had a couple of weeks off, and I just couldn't get the content out that I wanted to write.
Yeah.
I wanted to say how I was feeling, but I didn't want to then kind of just, I don't know how to describe it, make people feel low in themselves by reading my content.
Yeah, gotcha.
You would get enough that I was low. So there's a couple of posts where people have reached out to me directly afterwards and said, I'm worried about you. Are you all right? And I was like, I'm absolutely fine. I just needed to verbalise that. And that's another one with a daughter. As a woman now, was really upset in the corner of the room when they were trying to put them to bed. She now says, Daddy was upset in my bedroom. Daddy cried. And I'm like, oh, that really has affected them. But again, it's good for her to see that I do get upset. I'm not going to be one of those people that do struggle. So she just she'll see the softer side to me rather than the other side as well. So it's important for them to see.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the time, I was like, oh, this is weak and this is not right. I shouldn't be doing this in front of her. It's just going to make her cause some emotional damage, or I don't know if that's the right word to use. But I was worried, and I equally thought I need to have this moment.
Yeah.
And that's why my wife again saw me on the camera, saw me upset on the kids' camera. She's like, right, come in, you take over.
Yeah.
You take over the little one. You
Yeah.
take the lad. He's calm. You go look after him, and I'll deal with this.
Yeah. Because burnout, I suppose, is,
That's when I think the phrases come. Sometimes when the phrases come out of them when they go, "I don't want you anymore," or they hit you, and that's when you're like, right, well, I'm actually no good to them. I'm not helping them. Then
yeah.
that's when you start to spiral down.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I have had a tough period, but I can't say it's the community that gets me through this. I have to say, the neurodiverse community is the best community I've ever known.
And one of the things I talk about with burnout is that I can't guarantee I won't burn out again. It's one of those things I can't guarantee it. I know my burnout. I know what it looks like. I know when it's coming now. I recognize it better. But I've also kind of got strategies in place that when I can feel myself slipping, and sometimes a bit like you, I need my partner to say to me, Liz, you all right? And I'll go, yes, I'm fine. And they're like, you're not really.
I don't think you are.
Yeah, yes. And I still need that, even with the job that I do. And I found that really hard for a little while was that the job that I do, how can I help people if I still need help? But actually, I'm just doing what I talk a lot about kind of having safe circles around you. And that's having safe people around you, be that the neurodivergent community or a partner or whoever, friends, family, that get it, that do get it, that can help steer you in a direction when things are really bad, when our thinking brain has gone offline and we're really in that kind of protective part of our brain and we're feeling quite unsafe. Is having people that can steer you. And my biggest one as well is having people that don't go, you just need to.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
banned from my stratosphere
It
when
is the
I'm feeling a
biggest
bit
bugbear of
wobbly.
my life. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is the biggest bugbear. But again, another therapist that I had years ago, I've delved into many different therapists. But this therapist was somebody who was dealing with people who look after people in the care industry.
Oh, yeah.
So like nursing, doctors, mental health practitioners. And because I work with people who are getting back into employment, so through disabilities or mental health, at that time I was on the front line, getting those people back into work. Now I'm more paperwork, back of house. So at the time, I really struggled with dealing with their load,
Yeah.
their impression and their struggles, and I would take that home. And that she said that when you're in the caring industry, it is much more easier to want to help others than it is to want to help yourself.
We're the
And that,
worst.
yeah, and that's when she said that I thought, well, that makes complete sense. Like, what? So what book do we do? And she said, you just need to have either you're booking yourself some time with your manager and say, right, this is bothering me this week. This is what I need to offload.
Mm.
Is there anything further I need to do in terms of workload to deal with this, or can I have to go and do a walk out in the just go out of the office for a bit, just to have a refresh. It was should just make yourself some time to compress that, and that's why I still tend to carry on where I say I need a decompression time.
Yeah.
My kids and stuff go to bed, and I stay up for hours
Yeah.
trying to deal with it or understand what I'm doing and just watch a bit of mindless telly or read up on something. And
Mm.
that's when normally then my brain will go, right, you've done everything now. It's time for you to go to sleep. And then it doesn't give me any warning. And I'm just going to sleep. I'm gone. And then I
Okay.
wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock, fully clothed. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Phone's still there, laptop's still out, TV still blaring. So I've just gone because my brain's said
Yeah.
it's enough. Enough's enough.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just shut me off. But I've not.
Yeah.
Never felt tired before that point. I've just gone. So that's the
Yeah.
sleep for me. I'm definitely like a sleep narcoleptic.
Yes,
It's
you've got.
the weirdest feeling to explain to somebody. I'm just there, suddenly gone.
Oh, do you know what? There's sometimes I feel really. My son's like that. He goes to bed and that's it, gone. Like in seconds, sound asleep. And I'm the opposite. I'm the one at 3 o'clock in the morning with my brain going, whoa.
Yeah,
And please, I need to go to sleep. And I've done
yeah,
all
yeah,
the tips of, get up. I've written everything down, and I'm still going. My head's still, oh, but what? Oh, and it's got another idea. Um, so I do get very jealous of people that can just literally dunk. That's it,
yeah.
then gone.
Now these people,
I know.
who are you?
I've got a couple of questions just to kind of round off with you, David. One is, I want to say something. I kind of want to get a message out to the dads, and I wonder what your message would be to say maybe a mum has listened to the podcast and has chucked it under a partner's nose and said, "Have a listen to this." What do you wish a dad knew?
It is okay to speak, to chat out loud, to not feel like you have to do it behind closed doors, to reach out and say that you're struggling and to literally find your way out of it. I think we're all finding it every day. I'm still not 100% there. In terms of burnout, I'm going through, like, now I've gone through that last wave, I'm going to go through another round of therapy, but this time I'm going to try CBT. I've done everything. I've got access to work. I've had occupational therapy, occupational health, and I've gone through other kind of external support things.
Yeah.
I, I still seek support when I need it.
Yes.
Like, I don't just go, right, I've done therapy before, I've done medication before. Like, I still go out there and find out what other ways can I deal with this.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm constantly trying to learn. Like, I know that I'll never be perfect. I'll never do everything the right way. I'll never fit into a structure that is there in the world. I won't fit in there. But what I'm trying to do is get it. So I need to understand my mood. I need to understand how to cope under overwhelm, and that's the thing that I struggle with. Is when there's so much going on, and the kids are problematic, work's problematic, life's difficult. How do I balance all those commitments and still get through?
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm trying to learn. And I think that's what I would say to most dads is it is okay to say to him, I'm not very coping with this very well.
Yeah.
And you might get a bit of pushback, you might, because they might say, "Oh, I've dealt with it." Yeah, you are, but I'm not. So how can we get through it together? And
Yeah.
the questions, go out there and do some reading, or just message me because
I was
it
going to
might be
say,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
that's the other places to come find you on your page and you're on Insta. And well, I'll put all the details in the show notes so people can find David where he is and they can look you up if they want to. But I suppose that kind of links in as well to us talking about finding people that you can go talk to about that. And if that isn't your partner, if that feels too difficult, reach out. There are other people out there in other formats as charities, but also reach out through David and have a
somebody's done
chat
it
to someone else.
recently. Somebody reached out to me and said, like, I said, I'm struggling. What you then one of my recent posts said, what you wrote there's a quote
Yeah.
resonates with me completely. I feel it completely. I said, look, I can't promise that I'm not a counsellor, I'm not trained in any way, shape, or form. I said, but I'm open, I'm happy for the space to be available to you. You write it, and I can't promise that I'll fix, but I'll give you the space to offload. And I said I might offer suggestions, but I'll never give you the answer, and I'll never tell you the way forward because that's not what you've come to me for. Not
Yeah.
come for an answer. You've
Yeah.
come just to get it off your chest.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said, don't ever feel you have need to give me an answer.
Yeah.
Because I won't have the answer, maybe not either.
Because sometimes
But
it is about finding somebody else that gets it, isn't it? It's not about, I don't need fixing. And I felt like
never.
that. I think
Why
when
do we
I,
need fixing anyway?
no,
We're not.
no. And I
We're
think I
not a
felt like
problem.
that and I still feel like that is that I don't, and that's what when people come in with doing you just need to. And I think I don't need fixing. I just need somebody else that kind of goes, do you know what? This is really hard. And I get it. I hear you. And like you say, just being able to go, I just need to talk about this. I just need to get it off my chest. I just need to say how I'm feeling about something. And
My wife does it to me all the time. She'll sit like, it's something in the car the other day. We were driving somewhere, and a few years ago, there was a near accident that we had on the motorway. We got away from it, but we don't know that like the severity of how bad it was. And every time we go on the motorway at that point, it's always like, oh, I'm really anxious about that. And I said in the car, it's never gonna. It's like it's a one-off. It might never happen again. Like can't keep thinking about it. It's gonna dwell because at the point in me driving, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to think about it either
yeah,
because you're making me nervous. We haven't been this way for years because of the anxiety that you have driving. I didn't drive at the time. I now do drive. So it was one of those where I can drive, it's fine, we'll go over there. But don't put your anxiety on me because that will make me even worse because then I'll start playing it through my head. And then she said, all I needed was a bit of compassion there. And you just said, it'll never happen again.
okay.
And I just went, but it won't. Like, but it's because I was then protecting myself at that time,
Yeah,
saying, please don't make me nervous about it, because I'm never going to drive past that road again either.
yeah, yeah,
So, but then that's all she needed to say to me. Like, all I needed was a bit of compassion there. And I was a bit like, right, okay,
yeah.
apologies. Yeah.
I'm just,
My insecurities was I tried to take over. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm just going to bring us to a close, David. I just wanted to say thank you ever so much for coming on. I really appreciated chatting to you. It was great. We met through Instagram, didn't we? And you reaching out. I think it might have been over a pin. Was it over a pin?
I loved your pin
You're
badges, and you said,
getting
"Oh,
a pin.
these are for guests," and I was like, "Can I be
Can
a
I be a
guest?"
guest? I love that.
You should say I have a really. That's one of my interests is enamel pins. I collect them all, so I've got loads of enamel pins,
Well, you've got a pin winging its way to you. You can have a
and
pin.
I am currently designing pins that I want to put out there as well. So
Oh, so this
yeah,
is a real love for you, pins.
yeah.
So,
I think it's another way of expressing yourself
yeah,
inadvertently, just putting it on there and going, like, "This is what I'm saying."
yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the picture of what I've
So,
got on my bag, my
oh,
work bag,
well, if you do, we'll put it out with the with the
with your
podcast.
pin on. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I want my pin on there as well. So we will
yeah,
put
yeah. Of course.
together
Yeah,
my pins. I love
yeah.
that. Um, I will put obviously all of David's details in the show notes so you can find him. The other thing that I'm just going to mention before you go, if you are on video watching this on YouTube or you've seen one of the clips, you will see the brilliant t-shirt that David has got on. I just wanted to mention it that says, so if you're just listening, it says woke up neurodivergent again, and it's on a bright green t-shirt, which of course I love because it's bright green, but a brilliant t-shirt. And where's that from, David?
It's from Born Anxious, so a lovely, lovely brand that I definitely want to give some shout out to, because again, that's another person who's every time I've said I've not promoted you enough, I've not you've given me this free gift, this is a lovely freebie from them, and I've then they said no rush, you just deal with it as you see fit, and I thought yeah, this was a perfect time for me to say. Woke up this morning and felt like still neurodivergent. It
Well,
just makes me laugh every time. It
you
just
know
cheers me up.
what? David came on, and before he even spoke, I had read the t-shirt and said to him, I love that t-shirt. So I'm off to look up what are they called again, remind me?
Born Anxious.
Born Anxious. I'm off to look up Born Anxious. They sound great. I'll put some details for them as well in the show notes so people can find them. I'll put a link in there. David, thank you ever so much for joining me. I know things have had been a bit wobbly for you over the last couple of weeks, so I appreciate your time and your honesty, and it's been great talking to you.
Anytime. A pleasure.